Two expected to pack even more punches when the frontrunner and the rest of the heavy hitters hit the debate stage later tonight.
Carly Shimkiss is live with the major moments from last night that have social media sounding off this morning.
But we are going to start with our political panel, Democratic strategist Jason Nichols and Republican strategist Erin Elmore. Guys, thanks so much for coming on today, Erin and Jason. The backdrop for last night's debate is a city with the highest unemployment rate in the nation, ravaged, of course, by the collapse of the auto industry about 10 years ago. All right, can the American worker feel confident about some of the ideas that they heard? There you guys are. Good to see you. Erin, we're going to start with you. What did you think of last night, some of those big ideas?
Well, I think these are just big ideas, and the American worker is not resonating with them. If you look at what they've done, they've attacked big banks time and time again. And look who's revolutionizing Detroit, J.P. Morgan. They made a $200 million investment in that city. What are Democrats doing? Criticizing them. That's not the answer for job creation. The answer for job creation is our president, who's created 500,000 jobs in manufacturing, 700,000 in construction, and with the USMCA, we should see another 200,000, 300,000 jobs.
Yeah. Jason, I want to go to you for a second. A lot of the Democrat policies are really critical of anything that emits carbon, anything that pollutes.
We can't go with the status quo.
Erin, Jason just said that, those jobs, those industrial jobs are not coming back to the country. The president strongly disagrees with that. He's a big fan of tearing up things like NAFTA and places like Mexico, where a lot of those jobs disappeared too, which did help to decimate places like Detroit. Do you think the president has a better message for the Rust Belt?
Absolutely. As indicated that I just said, the numbers tell a completely different story. And what the American worker doesn't want, the American worker doesn't want to have to pay for someone else's free college. The American worker doesn't want open borders for someone who will work for a lower wage. They want to continue to see that wage gain, but see it naturally. They're not looking for these extremely liberal ideas. They're satisfied with the president, and the president is producing. There are tax cuts, there are more jobs, and he's changing the relationship between Canada and Mexico, which is also benefiting the American worker.
Jason,
ideas.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. We're going to talk about tonight for a second, because tonight will likely be even more interesting than last night was, because we're going to have Joe Biden up there, and he is the front runner, and he is a huge target. Erin, what do you expect tonight?
Well, I expect him to have a target on his head. Before our president so colorfully indicated that Sleepy Joe will limp his way across the finish line to become the Democrat nominee, there was that target on his head. What he's going to need to do is really go after Kamala Harris. He's already indicated that he's not going to be so nice this time, but what does that mean? I think one tip and something he should do is go watch Kamala Harris's 2010 Senate primary debates out in California and take some of those talking points, because there are ways that you can hit her. The problem that he's going to have is he's been in politics since 1970. If you do the math on that, it's almost 40 years. So there's a lot of material to attack. So he really needs to be on the offensive here, because someone wants to steal that crown from him.
Jason, I think you could say that Joe Biden has been doing a tremendously great job so far, but his numbers have held quite steady. Does that one to face Trump? That's the answer that everybody's looking for. All right, guys, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
Thanks, we'll send it over to you.
All right.